Okay. I'd like to call to order the Board Foundation Subcommittee meeting. It's December 14th, 2023 at 3 o'clock, and you can join us via a live webinar. Can we have a call to order? A roll call, please?
Palm Springs Unified School District Board Member Girardi.
Here.
Foundation Board President Gothier.
Here.
Foundation Board Member Bush.
Here.
Foundation Director Goodman.
Here.
Superintendent of Schools Senior A.
Here.
And Palm Springs Unified School District Board Clerk, Karen Cornett.
Here. Okay. Number 2 on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve?
A motion to approve the agenda.
How about a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Kathy seconded. And all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Do we have any public comments?
We did not receive any electronic comments. Erica, do we have anybody in the?
We do not have any attendees.
Okay, so we'll move on to number 4, the information and discussion item with the foundation update. And I believe, Ellen, you're going to be doing that.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. Thank you. Okay, so we'll just start. It's a busy and exciting time of the year. This is our end of year appeal season, which we launched on Giving Tuesday. And we launched that with email campaign. And that is continuing, where we send out emails on a weekly basis. We've gotten some very good responses. I have a whole lot of thank you letters to sign from all of the donations. And even just today, we got $1,000 donation from a former SMART mentor who received one of the emails today. So that's exciting. And we'll be doing that right up until the end of the calendar year. And then the other thing is we will be doing a mailing. It's been a very interesting process with our mailing. We've done one every single year. Folks still look for letters in the mail. This year we did narrow our list down from, which is usually about now, I think probably about 3,500, but we narrowed it down to about 1,500 individuals. And those are individuals who are active donors and have been active donors over a period of time. So we're looking forward to that. We've been partnering with Repo Graphics, and that is, they're not a formal mail house, and they have done such a great job trying to support us in folding and stuffing and sealing. And we did get a little bit of a delay. One, our envelopes took an extra 10 days because of the holidays and due to printing. So it took a little extra time. And then by the time it did get to repos, there was some mechanical problems with the printers and how the letters were going through being folded and stuff. So we learned that. The letters are now at our office, which we will now manually stuff, and we expect to have in the mail on Monday. Later than we would anticipate or that we would like, but nonetheless, they will go out and we'll be able to, they'll be able to hit homes before Christmas. The other thing that we're working on, in addition to our year end, is we're partnering with the Family Engagement Center on their Community Day. This will be, I think, the 3rd year that we've done that. And the foundation has supported them financially to be able to buy items for families like gift cards, along with other items. We are providing all of the gingerbread building kits that will be a station at the event. And the foundation will have a table with a wheel that kids can spin and get different prizes like Frisbees and other fun things. And that Giving Day is set this coming Saturday, the 16th, and it's at 9 a.m. It's from 9 to 11. So we're excited about that. This weekend is the final weekend for our Singing Waiters, MTU at Willie's. We were there last weekend. We were there Friday and Saturday. And this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It's been very exciting. We've picked up a few new sponsors. We're very excited about that. It has really been a great catalyst for fundraising to be able to model what other organizations have done in the past. So we have underwriters for the evening performances. This year, we have our underwriters are Jim and Carol Egan. We have the Alwyn Foundation, which is a new underwriter for us. Grace Helen Spearman Foundation, that's Steve Tobin and Johnny Krupa. And then we have Richard Kane and Stephen Brown. And so we tried to get a sponsor for each performance. So that's been lovely. And then we have a lot of people in the room this season that are donors that we are looking to match with increased levels of giving and production costs. So that's always very fun. We also have some new prospects that will be in the room who were able to experience the MTU Kids at one night only, which is the Michael Childers production at the McCallum Theater. And the kids dazzled the audience. And the minute they found out the kids were going to be at Willie's, the phone's been pretty much ringing. At this point, it's all sold out. There's just a few select seats left in the house. So that's been very exciting. The other thing is this Friday at 12:30, we will be doing a dedication at the Rancho Mirage High School Wellness Center, and that funder is Eisenhower. So it's 12:30 to 1:30. We will model it like we did with Cielo Vista Charter. Our principal will welcome us. We'll have a student speaking. Then Eisenhower's CEO will speak, and then Tony will bring us home with a final thank you and a gratitude. So hopefully we'll have some good attendance. We're hoping that our foundation board will be there. We're hoping school board will be there. We're hoping some cabinet members will be there as well. I'll give you a quick update on the wellness centers. So the wellness centers, they're moving right along. We're very excited about that. Palm Springs High School's wellness center should be completed the first week of January. Then we're going to move on to Bubbling Wells Elementary School. We'll start their wellness center. From Bubbling Wells Elementary, we'll move on to Vista Del Monte Elementary School. Then we'll pop back over the freeway and Julius Corsini will be the next one. After that, we'll look at Catherine Finchie, and then we will move to either Della Lindley Elementary or Agua Caliente Elementary. And then we'll come back over to Palm Springs with Kauai Elementary. And then what we'll be able to do is we'll start actively fundraising for the Cathedral City wellness centers. So we want to really be able to get the ones that we've been sitting on their funds completed, up and running before we really start to fundraise for the balance. Excuse me. Excuse me. We are in the throes of SMART, Student Mentor Resource Training. And this year we expanded to our third high school. We've been sitting at 2 high schools for a while, really wanting to make sure that the whole process of this 18-month experience where we start with juniors and we end at senior graduation, and then we move through what they call summer melt to the entrance of college. And we feel like we've got enough cohorts and enough experience under our belt to add another high school. I'm actually fighting whatever everybody's got, and so that's the coughing. So I apologize. This year, what we did different as a result of expanding to another high school is that we advertised for mentors, and it's the first time that we've done that. We ran 4 ads in the Palm Springs Post, and we got an amazing response. We never expected to get this kind of response. At this time, we have 36 mentors. In the past, we've only had 20. So now we have 36, and even more are coming and interested, which is really great. Out of the 3 schools, we had 150 students, 110 students apply to be in the program. And we're only able to service about between 30 and 36 students. So it is a shame that there will be students that won't be able to participate, that were interested. We did interview all of those students that applied. Well, I shouldn't say not all the students. we actually asked Desert Hot Springs. They had 51 students that applied, and we would never be able to interview all 51 in our time frame. So we asked them to narrow their list down to 30. So we interviewed 30 at Desert Hot Springs High School, and we interviewed a little over 20 at the other two high schools. And so we will be making our selection process, our selections today and tomorrow. And tomorrow, our students will be informed that they've been selected to be in the program. Okay, I think this might be passing. Thank you. And so I have one more topic, but I just wanted to pause there and see if there was any thoughts or questions about SMART that we were just talking about, or anything else. Okay, seeing none, I will move on. So the next topic, and I would think that this will generate some discussion, and that is we have another naming opportunity that we want to bring to the school board. This is a contact that we have been introduced to through Mark. The donor is a Palm Springs High School graduate, probably graduated in '61. Lives between Palm Springs and New York City. I was in New York City over Labor Day weekend, and I had a chance to meet with the prospect, and it went very, very well. We stayed in touch post New York, and Mark has since been in touch with the person. And that naming would be the lobby of the Richards. And it would be a dedication to Palm Springs High School philanthropist and alumni. And then the name on the wall. Right now, that amount is $500,000, and we are working out all of the details of contributions. What we like to do, and what we've done in the past with our namings, is that there's some cash up front that we like the individual to make annually so that they stay engaged with us and that we can continue to work with them. And a balance of it is in their estate. And that is that was the way 2 of the namings has occurred, where they have been some up front, and well, they're all actually different, where they're in their estate. The Galen Center, the Galen Performing Arts Center, Helene made 6 payments to be able to fulfill that. The Argovitz Stadium, there was cash up front, and there's cash in the estate. And for Palm Springs High School, for the Richards, for the building, that was all in the estate. So this one will be a hybrid. It'll be a little combination of all of those. And so in addition to that, I am in conversations about another naming, and that is on the Rancho Mirage High School gymnasium. And that individual has been very, very active in the foundation, and specifically at Desert Hot Springs High School, running a program on Wednesday mornings there. And we've had discussions about honoring that philanthropist with a name on the gym, and leaving those funds in the estate. And that amount right now is at $350,000, and that money would be designated to Desert Hot Springs High School. The Richard Center right now, we're looking at discretionary money, so it would not be tagged to any particular program or property.
So Ellen, if I understand this right, they want to donate $350,000 designated to Desert Hot Springs High School, but they want the naming of the Rancho Mirage Gymnasium.
Yes, and that is because that is their community in which they live in. And they felt, I offered Desert Hot Springs High School, and they just felt that that wasn't a visible location that would really make a difference. And so that was why they wanted Rancho Mirage High School.
Thank you.
But we wanted to drive money to Desert Hot Springs. And so that was the negotiation. I'm going to pause there. And Karen, you've been through a few of these with
Yes.
us.
I just want to get this clear again. They want their name on the Rancho Mirage High School gym, but they want the money to go to Desert Hot Springs High School.
I requested that the money go to Desert Hot Springs High School.
Okay. That's gonna happen?
Yes, it's very, 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 very likely. And so we use a template that the school district's attorneys created for us. And so we always have an agreement letter that lays out the terms. And so I wanted to, before I put any kind of documentation together with the donors, I wanted to have the conversation here first so that we could discuss it. But yes, they're both very, one we want to move very quickly through our system so that it can actually happen before individuals leave town for the season. And so that would be Palm Springs High School. And if we can pull off the two, then I would like the two. Though the other one, I don't think has to be done by March or like late March before everybody leaves. That probably can be done by the end of the school year.
Okay. Sounds exciting.
It's very exciting. And thank you for saying that. I'm very excited. It is, you know, it's great work. It's a lot of work. And we like to see the payoffs of that. And where we know the payoff is ultimately cash, it's really nice to see people's names, you know, in lights, so to speak, or like on things. And they like that too. So it's a real acknowledgement on both sides. John, any thoughts?
I'm still just processing it.
Okay.
I mean, I guess, but internally, personally, it just bothers me a little bit. They don't want their name on the Desert Hot Springs gym.
I think that's a fair feeling. What I've always heard is there's Rancho Mirage money, and Rancho Mirage High School gets a lot of that money. And so we're trying to drive some money to schools that often wouldn't be adopted. And so you can make the decision. The ultimate decision is in your hands. And so you surely can make that decision, but they will not have their name on Desert Hot Springs High School. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not because it's Desert Hot Springs High School. It's because their neighbors won't see it. You know, people who put their name on buildings for reasons. And so anyone who's driving in and out of Pearson is not going to know this Rancho Mirage philanthropist. But anybody who goes to an MTU event or anybody who's going around, like if you think about it, down Ramon, there is a sign that says Helene Galen Performing Arts Center, Jerry Argovitz Stadium. That's on Ramon, right at Rattler. Donors like that. And their donor base, their friends, their community is not in Desert Hot Springs. And so having a sign there just won't matter to them. So it's a catch-22 in a sense.
So, Ellen, did you say they live in Desert Hot Springs or they live in Rancho Mirage?
Rancho Mirage.
Okay, okay. I got it now.
We have a program every Wednesday morning at Desert Hot Springs High School.
All right.
Correct. And they're the founders of the program.
So Karen, what's the process? Does this go to the naming committee? The sponsored naming committee?
Yes, I believe so. First, and then they meet and then bring, I think, to the board. Once you're finalized all of the legal of it.
Who's on the naming committee?
Karen and
Madonna.
And what would you like? Do you need documentation to take there? How do we present that to you?
Yes, you bring all the documentation like you have in the past.
All the documentation. So is there something that we could, I'm sorry, there's a bit of an echo. It's the letter, it's the agreement package, or is it a letter of intent that goes to the naming?
I think it is the agreement package that comes to the the sponsoring naming committee. There's actually, two committees. There's a naming committee, but then there's the sponsoring naming committee where people are actually, we have a legal binding contract with them. So
Okay.
before, I would think, and John, you can chime in with this, that before we would bring it to the entire board, that the subcommittee, yourself, the superintendent, and whoever else is on that committee would review it. It would be seen by our attorneys, and then we would take it to and discuss it at a board meeting. Does that sound right, John?
I've never done it, so I would think that would be the process. And I believe you're on the committee, Karen.
I think I am too, but I can't.
So
who the other
it didn't go to the committee. The last two stayed in the subcommittee. It never actually went to the committee, and I don't recall it going to the committee.
Well,
And if it did go,
I was
okay,
talking about the subcommittee. It comes to the naming subcommittee first.
right. So it might have gone to the naming subcommittee, but the attorneys wrote up the original template. So as a way to save money, we've never actually gone back to the attorneys. I can't remember if it actually went to the subcommittee of the naming, because each naming we've done has lived in this board subcommittee. And so I'm not sure if how it actually went. That was behind the scenes. I wouldn't know that.
Well, I think
So really quick, the sponsored naming committee consists of Madonna, yourself, Karen, superintendent, so that'd be Tony, assistant superintendent of business services, which would be Jeff, and then director of facilities, which is Julie.
I don't feel comfortable not taking it to that committee, because that's the committee that was established by the Board of Education to review these things, not this committee that we're sitting on right now today. But it's that committee that needs to be, and the facilities people, the business people, the superintendent, and the board members would then review it, and you would bring it there. I can just remember when we did the Richards that you brought it to us and we reviewed it.
Okay.
And
So
I was
we'll do
just
the
looking
same thing.
at the OE right now on the sponsored naming of facilities, and it says step 1 to recommend to the board application procedures for those interested in giving money to the district in exchange for naming. 2, recommend to the board the criteria for sponsoring opportunities and selection criteria. And then 3, review applications and potential opportunities, vet against approved board criteria, and recommend to the board for final approval of naming and receipt of monies. So that would be the function of the sponsored naming of facilities committee, subcommittee.
Right.
Okay, well, Tony, I'll continue to work with you. Share all the documentation, and then you'll move it through whatever process that is. I have met with, in the other namings, I did meet with Julie prior to, I don't know if it was before or after a subcommittee, but to give Julie a heads up that it's coming, so that because she's got a plan for it, and we're looking at maybe a 90-day window. And so
It's likely,
we don't want to.
and Julie will probably have more of the historical on that too. So I'm sure she'll help facilitate the process. So yeah, definitely start with her, and then we'll pull it together.
Very good.
I mean, the sooner we meet and do it, the better.
Right. I mean, in this world of philanthropy, you move fast because you don't want people to change their minds.
Absolutely.
So that's what's going on in our world.
It sounds exciting, very exciting. Do we have any other comments for Ellen at this time? Okay, we have a district, update also. Tony, do you have anything else, Dr. Signoret, to say or add?
No, not at this time, Karen. I think Ellen did a good job of covering it all at this stage.
Okay. Moving on to number 5, board member comments. Do we have anything from the foundation board or from John or I that we want to add or ask?
Karen, this is Mark. I have an issue. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Sorry about the delay. I'm on my phone. I don't know why I'm having such trouble with Zoom today. I did want to bring up one topic, if I may.
absolutely.
I just wanted to raise the possibility, and I know this is a very big topic. I just wanted to start the dialogue about the need to, at some point in the future, add a staff member to the foundation headcount. I know that the belt tightening is coming with the end of COVID monies, but as a revenue center that we want to grow, in the executive committee's opinion, the foundation does need to staff up at some point. Ellen has pointed out that the foundation is now well into its second decade, and Ellen, in terms of fundraising and stewardship of our donors, has been a one-man band for 10 years now. And as you just heard, we're at the point where we're talking to senior donors about very serious amounts and namings, and there's stewardship to be done and entertaining to be done and events to be staged. And I think right now are at capacity. If we want to stay at this level of income, yes, we can manage. But if we want to grow the foundation's revenue, and I think we do, at some point we're going to need to be looking at additional manpower, or person power, I should say. I want to make it clear that on a clerical and a financial level, Ellen is getting great support from Javier and Edgar. They're handling everything from correspondence to bookkeeping, working with the auditors. Javier is doing all the creative for our website, social media, holiday mailings, etc. And I also want to make it clear that our board is actually working harder than ever on a volunteer basis. As you know, we have board members helping to run the SMART program, board members doing a lot of our direct mail copywriting. One of our board members is just overhauling our website. But in terms of increased revenue and growing that endowment in the bank, which is now over 5 million, I think we're at capacity. And at some point, we're just going to have to talk about manpower and staffing. And again, I know this is a big gorilla, and I know this is an enormous discussion that involves human resources and budgets, but Kathy Bush and I just wanted to get it on the table on behalf of Ellen going forward. And Kathy, I'll stop there and see if you have anything to add. Again, this isn't a discussion we have to have now, but we just wanted to make it clear that this is where our heads are at the moment.
I just wanted to add that, the foundation seems to do best when it's nimble and moving forward quickly. And right now with, you can see how the SMART program has grown, how, donors have to be shepherded, Ellen's going to New York to meet, different things like that. That takes an enormous amount of cultivation and time. And we don't want her to burn out. And we want her to be able to, when a donor is, very open to the possibility, we need her to be available. But if she's supervising programs and doing all these other things, it's a distraction to the point where she can't just quickly drop everything and go and meet that donor. And that would be counterproductive. So we need to have her enough time so she can jump on those opportunities for the big numbers that I think we want to see if we want to grow and supplement that budget as the state's budget decreases for the district.
Comments or questions?
Just more of a comment. Just thank you, Mark and Kathy, for bringing that up. What I'd like to suggest in looking at Ellen at this stage is maybe where I would recommend that we start is really looking at what are the duties and responsibilities of the position that you'd like to be considered. That really kind of helps us determine, and that would be the way that this would be the standard process that in any department, if we were to expand a position, is where we would start. What are those duties and responsibilities that we actually want the role to cover, and start that conversation with our HR personnel. From there, then that's moved forward to our cabinet team for review and consideration. The always with, the challenge of, the budget and looking at those, again, I'm sure you've heard about the budget deficit that the state is facing now in these upcoming years. We have to be very, very mindful of the positions. That doesn't mean that additional help can't be secured. There's sometimes other creative ways that we found solutions to help still achieve exactly what you're saying. Because it seems like, again, the burden that Ellen is carrying is tough to release her to do other things and bigger projects to expand. But understanding better what the exact responsibilities and duties of what's expected will help us make that decision and how we can support. So I think it's a great recommendation. If Ellen, maybe you could just start with HR first to look at what is it that you're looking for, because that also helps determine whether I'm gonna guess it's gonna be a classified position, right? It's not gonna require any certification, so that'll be relatively easy in that aspect. But from there, what is the position going to entail, and then we move it into cabinet, and then we can help it take flight from there.
That sounds like a great first step, Tony. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tony, for that clarification. Are there any other comments or questions on that topic?
Curious on this smart mentor program. I mean, there's real need out there. We got a lot of students that want to apply. Do any of the school district employees get involved?
Yes, we have had school district employees be mentors. As a matter of fact, Marion is one of our mentors. And Joan contacted us and asked if that was a possibility. And it really is up to the manager, that the manager says, yes, every Wednesday morning from 9 to 10, you can be there. And Joan gave her the green light. I think that Joan's experience with Ophelia. So I think that's really, really valuable for district employees that can carve out that 1 hour on a Wednesday morning. It's very, very valuable to have a school district. And since the beginning of time, since we started SMART, Ruby Rivera was a mentor. And then she moved over to being on campus from the Family Engagement Center. So her schedule didn't allow, though having her at Palm Springs High School allowed us to expand to Palm Springs High School because she's so experienced. But yes, they do.
I don't want to open up a can of worms, but it'd be nice if we could maybe incentivize some employees to get involved to make up this gap. I mean, they're right there already. They got the experience.
Yes. And we have retired. So for example, we do have retired PSUSD mentors as well. Sue Emery, who was the counselor over at DHS and at Rancho Mirage High School, is also now a mentor. And so she's very excited about it. I will say, John, it's capacity. It's our ability to be able to manage all those volunteers. And so 36 is a lot. It's a big jump from where we were, because we do want to accommodate all of the kids that want a mentor. But I don't think we can handle that internally. So we have to really make sure we pace ourselves. So before we talk about a growth strategy, we have to see we can pull this cohort off with managing the 36 mentors. And it's an 18-month program. And then in that process, we can talk about how can we really accommodate more students, because there are a lot of people out there that want to volunteer and help.
Well, that's good. Yeah, because it's a big gap. I mean, if I understood it correctly, you have 150 that wanted to apply, and you can only take at max 36.
Yeah, actually, it was 110. It was 110 that actually applied. The max we can take is 36 students.
Right. Is that 110 because we asked Desert Hot Springs to reduce theirs?
That is correct. Yes. Okay. Well, 51 students. We asked them to reduce the number of interviews. Right. They had 51 students apply. We didn't have the capacity to interview all 51 of them. So we did ask them to scale back and just supply us with 30 names.
Right. Okay.
Because that's what we could interview. Yeah. So it is a capacity issue.
Okay.
And we haven't even talked about another high school yet. So there'll be even more.
Right. Sure.
Are there any other comments, suggestions here? Questions? Okay.
Karen, I'll just add for SMART this year, one of the things that we are going to be doing, we have been tracking college applications, the number of applications, which was well over 175. And then we tracked, or there was well over 200, we had 175 acceptance letters. And then the kids have to make that decision. This year, we're also tracking financial aid and scholarships, so we can, display the economic behind it as well. So we'll be capturing more data.
Good. Any other comments?
I have one quick question. How did Bollywood turn out?
Oh, I don't have that number, John. I will say it's exactly where we would anticipate it to be. The event is a break-even event. That event in year 1 and year 2, and very well into the first 5 years, the strategy behind that is a customer acquisition strategy. We are looking to increase our donor base. We are looking to throw our net wider. It's one of the reasons why the ticket price is where it's at. And it's one of the reasons why we as an organization said we need to break even before we actually can get out there and make more money. And that is because of the ticket price. If indeed the ticket price was 100 and say 200, like a lot of the fundraisers that we see in town, then we would have actually had net proceeds. But we really want to be able to build that base of individuals, introduce people to the school district, to the foundation, and then ultimately cultivate all of those. So it's a business strategy called customer acquisition. Now, once we acquire them, we then have to convert them into donors. And this is all fundraising strategies. It goes back to something Mark said about really being able to have the time to do that. And we're kind of at capacity. And so we had 550 people. Out of the 550 people at Bollywood, I would say a third of the room are individuals who we will not see at other one night out events. They are from the Indian community. They came for Bollywood. It was a celebration. And the net worth of the individuals in the room who we were able to attract are individuals we want to introduce the school district to. So our strategy is to really be able to work those numbers and those individuals. But as far as it looks like we brought in 40,000 plus and we spent that.
No, I understand. I didn't think it was a fundraising event. It's attendance, what you're looking for right now.
Exactly. And that's the customer acquisition. And I will just say we hit a home run. But the issue now becomes, John, and for everyone, the issue now becomes we have to now spend time, right, converting them into donors. Right. And that takes some time to do. Sure. But it was absolutely out of the park. We hit it out of the park. It was unbelievable. Even better than Havana. Havana had more people, but the customer at Bollywood is a customer we're looking for. And it was wicked fun.
There was. I had a good time.
Yeah. Get your feathers. Get your feathers for next year. We're going to Rio.
It was a fabulous event. Any other comments? Okay, let's move on to the number 6, approval of the Board Foundation Subcommittee meetings from August 31st, 2023. They were sent to you. I hope you have been able to review them. May I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
A second?
Kathy seconds.
Okay. Is there any corrections? If not, all those in favor of accepting them as written, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to number 7, setting of the next Board Foundation Subcommittee meeting is February 29th, 2024.
Oh, it's a leap year.
Oh, yep.
Huh?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, the next meeting, what was the date, Karen?
It says February 29th, 2024. Are we not meeting in January?
No, we've changed the schedule
Oh,
to
that's
every
right.
other month and then 2 in person. I do have it on my calendar as the 29th of
Yes.
February.
Yes, that's what it says. Okay.
I have a question, Karen, if at some point, if there's an open opportunity. I was just wondering how much detail would you like? When we were meeting monthly, you got monthly updates, but now we're meeting a little less frequently. So there's a number of other things that happen at the foundation level, and I just didn't know if everything should be included. Like, for example, there's a neighborhood, the Vista Las Palmas neighborhood contacted the foundation, and they wanted to have a t-shirt contest for Modernism Week. And they contacted us and said they would like middle schoolers to compete with an art design, and that the winning teacher, so if a student in one of the schools, whoever that teacher was, that classroom would receive $5,000.
Wow.
And so we've been working with them very closely, and we've been working with all of our middle school art teachers. Desert Springs Middle School does not have an art teacher, but they have an after-school art club. So they're included as well. So every one of our middle schools will be competing. They have the parameters, they have the information, and their art is due on January 26th. And then the Vista Las Palmas team will choose and select the artwork. They will then make shirts, and they will be worn, displayed, and for sale during the Modernism home tours at their homes.
Nice.
John, you have any thoughts on the information we need to receive?
Well, that was good information. I'm
Yes.
glad we heard that.
You
I
know,
guess you just need to. I think we'd leave it up to you, Ellen. I mean, share the good news. That's what I would encourage.
Okay.
you hate to say, we want a little update, news blurb from you on a monthly basis, because that's just giving you some more work to do. But on the other hand, it is nice to know all the positive things that you're doing.
Well, one of the things we used to do, and we do, is every month I send the foundation board, a monthly update on all of the activities. And Tony, we could send that to you, and you could decide if you want to put that in the packets. But we used to do that in the past. So that is something that we could do. It's written to the foundation board, not to the school board, but it's the same information that you would want.
Sounds like you're already doing it. If you could just share it with the board, that would be great to me. What do you think, John?
No, I think that's a good idea.
All right, any other suggestions there? Okay, we'll move on to number 8. We're at adjournment. Anything else for the good of the committees? No? All right. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll
Motion
make
to
a motion,
adjourn.
Ellen. Let's do it.
Go with Mark.
Mark made a motion to adjourn. Ellen seconded. May I have those all in favor say aye or raise your.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, okay, the motion passes. This is a webinar, so as soon as we're done, maybe Erica can tell you what happens. Erica, you want to just explain what happens at the end of the webinar?